Welcome to the 8 in the Box podcast. Today is December 1st. I can't believe it. It's Championship Saturday. College football is done. It's not really done because we're getting ready for playoffs and bowl games and all that stuff. But we made it to the end of the season. We got so many games here. You know what we're going to do. We're going to talk about college football. That's what we do here on 8 in the Box. My name is Dave Sharapan. I am the Sportsbook Consigliere. You can find me on Twitter at SportsBKConsig. With me, as always, the quarterback, Howe, off a fresh West Virginia win, but no cover against Kansas. What's up, Howe? How you doing?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's great to talk with everybody. What a weekend of college football it was last week. And then we continue into this week. How about the coaching carousel? I think 3 more coaches just left in the 5 seconds I've been talking.
We may need to do a whole show on that. So we're going to touch on that as we go along here with the games. I can't believe it. We recorded Cash Considerations yesterday. That's we're a Cash Considerations production. We recorded that show yesterday. We had Chris the Bear Felica on the show, and that was the first question I asked him, and he was just like, "I don't know. I mean, no, nobody knows what's really going on." The fact that Kelly left right now and Notre Dame can still get in, I can't believe it. It's unbelievable.
Amazing. I think you talk all the time about the bag guys. The bag guys have been running around college football, dropping big. We're the only 2 that don't have $100 million contracts.
Listen,
everybody else has one.
Everybody's getting one.
If you listen to this podcast, you know my background. I spent 20 years in college athletics, most recently as an assistant AD at West Virginia. I am glad I'm out and not the one having to push the bags across the table. This is nuts. I'll sit here with you and do this and not worry about giving somebody $100 million that might not win any games.
Unbelievable. Well, all right, so we'll touch on that. We're going to get to the games. Of course, the highest total of the week. That goes under, did it again. We'll get to that. I mean, it's been an unbelievable run there. We call him Dan Alexander. He's Dan Newbert at Newbie Talks on Twitter, producing the show. Again, thank you for listening, following, watching on the YouTube, commenting. Sometimes we refer to teams. Apparently, we refer to them the wrong way. The UTSA people were very upset with us. I'll let you know about that after the show. A couple comments. We apologize. We're talking about the games, talking about the lines, and kind of which way to go if you're looking at wagering on this stuff, or just fade us. I mean, either way, we're talking about it, trying to present a case and enjoy it. And thank you for joining us. Howe, start us off. Championship Saturday. What is the first game that we're going to talk about today?
Let's start. We're going to actually start Championship Friday. How about that? And I think I have these 2 teams right. Oregon and Utah. I think we pronounced those correctly.
2
Oregon
Utes
and Utah.
And the Ducks. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Bookmaker. I mean, I'm going to give you some numbers, but I need you to tell me this one. Okay. Utah now favored by 2.5. Total sitting 59.5.
Yeah.
We just saw this. We liked Utah when these 2 teams met.
We did.
Utah went absolutely bananas and dominated Oregon. I mean, dominated the Ducks and won that. What was it, 38-7 in that one? Mm-hmm. So before I get into any numbers, why is the line only 2.5 now?
2 things. One, it's here in Las Vegas. So it's not at home, which gives me pause that the line is not a little bit more or less. 2, how many times have you heard it's hard to beat a team twice, let alone 3 times? Okay. They just saw them. You expect the opposite to happen in a close line game. So odds makers put up the same number. Very strange to me. I saw the number and I was like, man, you guys are getting lazy. Like, I've been sitting in them rooms for a long time and be like, hey, what do you make the line? It's Utah against Oregon. It was just 3. Well, yeah, but they won 38-6. There's no adjustment. Well, no, it's probably an adjustment down. Well, okay. So that's bookmaker logic for you. That's odds maker logic. Give me some numbers that, is there anything you can make sense of with this game?
Well, this is one of those tough ones. Again, I feel like I'm more betting philosophy here than I am on the field. Both teams are hot. Utah 8 out of 9. Those of us on an over 8.5 win total, thank you, Utah,
Hello.
for getting over there. We had to sweat it, but thank you. Oregon hot too, 6 of 7. Their one loss being to this Utah team. Listen, they're built similarly. Defense, strong lines, run the football. Utah got the better of that by far the first meeting, running for 200 yards. We've talked about Cam Rising, the Utah quarterback, a bunch on here. Since he's been inserted in the lineup, that's when that winning streak took off. It feels to me, so take all that aside, what you just said, this feels like Oregon is the side. You're going to get an inspired effort. Okay, Utah, you got our attention now. We're going to come win our 3rd straight game, go to the Rose Bowl again. I feel like I want to take Oregon, but then am I going to end up being on a public dog? So I want to be on the other side and go back to Utah. I am totally conflicted right out of the gate, game 1. Go, make sense of it.
I saw enough of the first game to know that Oregon isn't stopping Utah. They are going to be able, unless some adjustments are being made that I don't know of, which again, that's very, very possible. Utah's going to be able to run the ball. And I like Utah in the game again. So I understand why you're supposed to probably bet Oregon, because the opposite of what happened is supposed to happen. And it's not up in Utah in the cold weather and all that other stuff. This place is going to be hype, I think. Friday night, I think it's going to be a big crowd at that game. The guys are coming in, Felica and Herbie and all those guys are coming in to broadcast the game. I can't wait to see the total. I mean, the track is a fast track here in Las Vegas, but man, that seems again a little bit high to me. Yeah. I was leaning under, and then you just said neither team is going to stop each other, this and that. At 59.5 on a Friday night after you've been in Vegas for a couple days, under for me.
I think you're right. Well, again, we said 38-7, 45 points in the first meeting, and the total's roughly the same. It has ticked up a little bit. I tend to agree with you. Man, I so want to pick Oregon. I so want to be on the Oregon side. It feels like the right side. I'm probably going to take Utah and feel miserable about it when Oregon
don't do it
and advances. I mean, I don't know.
Just take the Ducks.
You tell me.
That's all. I don't want you to feel bad after the game. I mean, if you don't have it, you already feel
bad. I haven't even placed a bet on the game. All right, let's move on. I don't know. I might just say I don't know for 8 games. Can I do that?
It's hard. Listen, it's one of the hardest weeks of the season because you have stats and you have home field advantage. You have all this. The neutral site thing is it throws everything into a loop, I think. And then you have that motivation factor where you're like, all right, are you happy to be here? Are you trying? Do you have something else to do after this? And that's like with this next game, there's still unfinished business in this game.
Yeah, let's get to this one. And the other element to these that are tough are these rematches, right? I mean, we see in basketball all the time. It's common. Football, it just is weird and hard to do this. So let's dive in, see if we can find some value here. Baylor, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State -5, -4.5, total 46.5. Listen, you know me on Oklahoma State. I've been talking about this defense for weeks after watching them up close. I think they're the real deal here. They get after you. They have men playing on the defensive side of the football. And here's the other thing about Oklahoma State now. Offense starting to come around a little bit. You saw that breakout in Bedlam. Yeah. I don't take a lot away from Oklahoma being able to score points on Oklahoma State. Bedlam is weird. It's about as weird as it gets. Wow. You saw that on Saturday. Oh. Happens every year. That game is weird. So here we're going to talk about this a couple different times. Normally, I would say massive flat spot for the Cowboys, right? Finally got the monkey off your back and beat Oklahoma, which Gundy had really struggled doing. But you're in a championship game. You're playing for a college football playoff spot. There can't be a letdown, right? There just can't be a letdown from Oklahoma State. And if there's not, I'm all over the Cowboys here. I know that number's probably inflated a little bit. Baylor's had a great year. The question around that is going to be quarterback Gary Bohannon. He was lights out for the first part of the season. He's been banged up, and the interceptions have started to come. A little of that regression to the mean for Bohannon. 10-2 for the Bears, great season. To me, this is Oklahoma State or pass.
It is for me too, but I'm starting to think I might be missing a little something myself. I mean, when Saturday night was happening, I was texting with a couple guys that work in the risk room, at WinBet. Mo and Maddie, really good friends of mine, and we're making the numbers. I'm like, what are you guys putting up? What are you guys putting up? Because this was always a really fun weekend because you wanted to have that number up and start taking bets right on Sunday. You get a whole extra day, and you get all the media talking to you about it, and it's a blast. Said 6.5 or 7, and I said 7.
Ooh.
Let them bet Baylor down because that's where, and they already put up 6.5, 6, and got Baylor bets, and now it's settling at 5, 5.5. I like Oklahoma State too, but you got to tell me if they win, they got to be in, right? I mean,
they're in. I mean, you're going to have a mutiny anyway coming about the playoff system, but they're in. Conference champion, 1 loss, they're in. And remember this, it would be 2 consecutive weeks of top 10 wins. They beat Oklahoma last week, who was 10th in the playoff rankings. Baylor's in the – now somehow Baylor dropped. Somehow Baylor won with a backup quarterback last week and dropped in the rankings. So don't get me started on trying to figure that out. But it'll be 2 top 10 wins for Baylor right there in the rankings. Put them in. Just be done with this. Put them in.
Award a Texas Ranger hat because I know it has a special place in our heart for some of the work we did on Game Within the Game, which you should listen to as well. But the game is in Texas, okay?
Yeah.
At Jerry's World, right? Is there any home field advantage in your opinion in this thing? Because when we do these lines and talk about that, and we hear the narratives all week, oh, it's in Texas. Well, Baylor's in Texas and Oklahoma State's not a far trip. None of that matters at this point, does it? I mean, I just went to a neutral site game. It was 21,000 people at a basketball game, fans from both, but there's no home anything.
No, there's not. But I would think Oklahoma State will be all over this. I think there's going to be a heavy orange presence there because of what they have on the line. And I just like them. Now, your point on the number is valid here because of what we just said. Mike Gundy's totally content. He doesn't care about covering, although he has 9-0-1 over the last 10, 9-1-1 on the year. But he doesn't care if he just wins this by 3 or not. He's going to play some defense. They ran it 59 times against Baylor when they met the first time. 59 rushing attempts. So they're going to try and run it, squeeze, see if Bohannon is healthy. He missed last week's game. So I don't know if you're getting 100% Gary Bohannon. This is a start of, I'm going to have a couple of these. Baylor's got to show me. Okay. I mean, Oklahoma State's a freight train right now. What do you always tell me? Don't step in front of the freight train. Give me Oklahoma State here, although the number, be careful of the number there. It's starting to get away.
46.5 for a Big 12 championship game. Total wise, this is maybe the lowest total on the board. Are you kidding me? Is this play to the under?
The Big 12 title game's gone under in all 4 years of its existence, and that's been with Oklahoma playing in every one of those games.
Wow. Who's not really a defensive juggernaut.
I'm not even sure if they fielded a defense in a couple of those years, and it still went under. So, yeah, I think you're right. If you want to play a trend there, that's a low number, but you go under on this one and take the Cowboys, right?
Yep.
Okay, let's move on to another one. This is in a game in a day filled with great games, big brands, big matchups. This might be the sneaky best game of the day on paper, even though the line may not reflect it.
Right.
But let's talk AAC, Houston and Cincinnati, as I like to say, Cincinnati.
Listen, that thing's it's taking a life of its own. I say it now every time people looking at me. I'm out. Right. Newbie says it, right? It's fun, isn't it, Noobs?
It feels good. Like it just rolls off the tongue, and I think of B-Howe every time.
Every time we think of you, B-Howe. So I'm doing it. Even my, the kids were like, what are you saying it like that for? I'm like, well, Brad says it like that. Oh, okay. If B-Howe says it like that, then it's cool. So you've made it. You've crossed over.
Now, real quick, Dave, I want to clarify. I mean, no disrespect when I say Cincinnati. I don't want to get a bunch of comments. There's a former basketball coach here, an assistant basketball coach at West Virginia for a long time that used to say it that way. So in loving memory of him, those are a couple of us around here, we just say it's Cincinnati. So I mean that with the utmost respect for the Bearcats.
Thank goodness. Okay. We will let no disrespect. Absolutely not. Although Cincinnati has been getting kind of disrespected in this whole thing all along, and all they have done is win. If they find a way to win and they don't get in, it's all fixed, and I'm done with the whole thing. They have to get in. There's no other way. There's
Yeah,
no other way.
they've got to get in if they find a way to win this. But
That's
listen, this is no gimme here. Now, I like Cincinnati a lot. Desmond Ridder at quarterback. He's been there 113 years. He's
Man.
outstanding. Should be on the outside of the Heisman conversation. They should be talking about Ridder, what he's done. But defense at Cincinnati and Luke Fickell, that's what you think about. Now, when you think about Houston and Dana Holgorsen, defense is absolutely not what you think of.
No.
But credit Doug Belk, their defensive coordinator in that unit. You have the number 2 and the number 4 defenses in the country per Pro Football Focus going at it in this one. So that's kind of the under surprise story of this. 2 really good defenses. Houston's offense, though, is starting to get going. Clayton Tune averaging over 500 yards per game here over the last 5 games or so. So the Houston offense is starting to roll. But, man, Cincinnati's got a giant carrot in front of it. You've got to like Cincinnati here. But can they cover the 10.5?
Betting sentiment so far is that they cannot. It opened 12 at Circa. It's down to 10 in a lot of places. So, but again, when you make this number, which again I was doing with the guys, I was like, are you going to put it 13? They're like, what? I said, again, take the bets on the dog on the way down. Get the bag guys to play that number first to see how high you have to go if you need to go get it again. So you make the numbers for the bad guys. You don't make the numbers for everybody else. You know Cincinnati's going to be teased down. Cincinnati's going to be money line because they just need to win and get in. And sometimes, without overthinking it, it is that easy. I don't know. Totals 53.5. You sounded like you were making a case for the under. Do you think this plays to the under? I don't. The last couple of weeks, yeah, I don't. I think this plays to the over, which leads me to the Cincinnati side. I like Cincinnati in the game and to cover because I think they can get a multiple score lead like they have done the last couple of weeks and just go gas pedal down. Let's go. Let's kind of start that celebration and we're getting ready, for the next step. I can't wait.
The over is 3-1 in the last 4 AAC championship games here. I think the misnomer, it feels to me like a narrative has been placed on Cincinnati about this. They're not winning impressively enough. They're not blowing teams out.
Right.
They've only had 2 single-digit wins all year.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been getting double-digit wins here. Maybe they're not 20. I don't know what people are expecting. This to me, and I know the Luke Fickell Notre Dame thing is beating around out there, but man, this is
going there. Is he going there?
We'll talk about that here in a minute.
Oh,
Who knows? I mean, you want to try and predict coaching moves? Good luck.
No, I don't.
This to me, listen, Houston's had a great season. 11 straight wins after losing to Texas Tech, but this is a massive moment for Cincinnati, and I don't think it overwhelms them. They were on the big stage last year. They've been pointing to this for a couple of years now, and they're right on the doorstep of some unbelievable achievements. This to me, I think I'm laying the double figures. I know you always yell at me when I do that, but Dana Holgorsen in a big moment, you talk about the ultimate show me. Dana in a big moment is going to have to show me his team is ready. He's got a wonderful team. Give me Cincinnati, and I'm laying the 10 on this one.
The game is at Nippert Stadium. Do you know where Nippert Stadium is?
I do, and have been there many times.
Yeah, what city is it?
Played Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. This is going to be a massive game for them. I mean, I'm laying the points. I can't be convinced otherwise right now. You sound like you got a little bit of that show me kind of thing with Dana working in Houston going up there. I'm good with laying the points here.
Yeah, let's do. All right, move on to another fun, maybe off the radar game, given all the big matchups. Let's go Sun Belt here. App State, the other Mountaineers. I worked at the one Mountaineers. We call them the other Mountaineers. They've had a great season too. Their one hiccup. They have had a hiccup, and it was against this Louisiana team they're getting in the title game. All right, put your bookmaker hat back on. Explain the line to me here. Louisiana absolutely hammers App State in the first meeting, and they're a dog at home. Tell me why I'm not. All year we've come on this show, and you yell at me when I take the road favorite. How do I not take the home dog? And listen, I get it. I know their coach, the Louisiana coach, is now the Florida Gator coach, but he's still going to coach Louisiana, even though he's out recruiting for the Gators. And he's the Gator head coach.
Such a weird
Is
thing.
that worth that much of a line move here?
It is, I think it is when you go to bet it. As far as the line, what did the line close in the first game? Do you know? Was it
I
around
don't
this
know.
number?
I don't remember.
I didn't even go back and look.
I didn't either.
And if Newbie has a second and he can find it, that'd be great. But I can tell you this. App State, man, I don't know. This is one of those ones I'm not afraid to say. I don't know. I mean, they're 10-2, App State 8-4 against the number. UL Lafayette. What's their nickname? The what?
Raging Cajuns.
That's too easy. I like that one. 5-7 against the spread, but 11-1.
And 11 straight wins. Now, here I'll give you one of the differences. 41-13 in the first meeting. Louisiana won 41-13 in the first meeting, but App State had 4 turnovers. So I don't think you can assume that. I mean, that's part of it. That plays into this. You're not going to assume 4 turnovers for App State. 2 pretty good defenses here if you want to look at a total. 13th and 14th scoring defenses nationally. Both teams like to run it. Both teams like to run it. 2 guys for App State have combined for 1,700 yards. A couple guys on the UL side, 1,500 yards rushing. They're both going to run it. You want the under? You want to play an under here?
Maybe under. Yeah, I mean, I'm flipping a coin on the side. Not going to lie, but I mean, I would side with the favorite actually. If they got housed the first game,
they did.
I'm always of the opinion now. Why is the line? The line makes no sense. Well, if they got housed the first game, the game is in Lafayette. It's in the state. What am I missing? You know, and you got people just coming up like anyone that paid any attention or goes back and looks at any history goes, well, I got to take the home dog. It's easy. You always take home dogs. Nope. Oh, wait. I just got noticed. Newbie, what was the closing number from this first matchup?
So back in October 12th was the matchup. App State, Louisiana, 4.5 for the Mountaineer, the other Mountaineer side. Appalachian State favored, total 57 points. And if you were looking at the money line, App State chalky, -200, Louisiana +170 take back.
And the game was where? The game was in App State.
And the game was, in App State. Yep.
Wow. Okay. So now that I know that, and it's -3 at the other stadium, they beat them. Now I know. I mean, and again, nobody knows shit. Don't get too excited and come at me, because I told you to play it, but I like App State a lot now.
Dave, this is what happens when you have me looking at stuff too early in the morning. It was actually kickoff from Cajun Field. It was listed incorrectly at the top of the page. Blame CBS. They had it written.
That's okay. That's all right. So the line's close to the same then.
So it's basically the same thing as it was in the first meeting.
But the total, right? Did you hear the total? Total came way down.
Yes.
App State and under. App State and under. That's the way this game plays out. App State doesn't get all the adjustments are made. They come back. They play better. So the other game we just talked about, they repeat what they did the first game. This one, opposite. App State under.
Okay, let's jump over to the ACC that almost made it into the highest total of the week.
Oh, man.
Now, how about this one? Wake Forest and Pitt. Pitt favored by 3 total. You can give me the most updated number, 72.5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right in that number.
That's it. That's good. Yep.
Pitt's 4th in the country in total offense. Wake is 9th. 2 fantastic quarterbacks here. Sam Hartman for Wake, Kenny Pickett for Pitt. Both have had just incredible seasons. This should be a fun one to watch. I mean, again, I could give you some numbers, but this comes down to me a couple sides. Do you take the under? Do you trust the under here? We talked about Pitt before. If I was trusting a side here, here's my challenge. So what do you trust here? It is a big spot for both teams. Again, 2 really good quarterbacks, suspect defense. To me, Pitt just fit like that much more on Pitt.
I agree. Again, and I'm nighttime in Pittsburgh behind me. That's what all my friends at Sports Grid and SiriusXM refer to my backdrop as. I'm a Pitt guy originally. Went to Penn State, so got away from it. But I'm excited for Pitt in this game, for Pickett in this game to have the spot to actually do this. Gonna be a lot of scoring. I don't know if I mean, it's in Charlotte, Bank of America Stadium. Wake is a scoring juggernaut. I think I like over. I can't believe it. I think
You're going to take the over?
I think I like over in the game. Yes, maybe selfishly I want to see it, but it's the night game against another night game that we'll get to here in a little bit. That's going to look drastically different. So I think this one I'm actually leaning over. I mean, you're going to tell me you're going to play the under this game?
I don't know if I'll actually play it. I probably should out of principle because, again, we see these totals more often than not. We're going to get to the numbers. They go under. You just need a couple stops. I don't know if they can get them. Again, Pickett and Hartman are great. This is going to be a really fun game to watch if you like offensive football. I would probably lean the under just to say, give me a stop or two. I probably would. But give me one last thing if you like Pitt. Favorites are 9-0 in the last 9 games of this in the ACC championship. Straight up, 9-0. But one caveat there. It's the first time with no Clemson since 2014. So that's part of it why. So it's 9-0, but it's been Clemson most of those years running with it. So take that into account.
And usually in a dominant position as far as like a big spread, playing a lot inferior opponent, all that stuff. So, I mean, it's a fun game. It's a competitive, low spread, 3-point spread. Expect some back and forth. This might be one of those where I'm texting you, hey, in game this, start maybe what you're thinking, under 72.5, get a couple stops or a turnover. This thing drops to 62.5. All of a sudden you go over, you get a nice little 10-point middle in game. All kind of things possible here. Good uniform matchup too.
I like the in-game play.
Yeah.
Real good uniform matchup. I hope Pitt goes the more royal blue. Blue, right? The royal blue. I like that. All right. Let's move on. What's next? Big Ten? You want to go Big Ten next here?
Number 10, number 6. Yeah, Big Ten. Iowa, Michigan. Michigan. It's Iowa. Hey. We can't get away from these Iowa teams. I thought we were done with Iowa. All Michigan did was go, win that big game, right? They won the game. So now I'm talking to my boys. I'm like, what do you make the line against Wisconsin? Because Wisconsin's playing Minnesota. Pretty simple. All they got to do is go get that Paul Bunyan axe. They're going to win it. It's done. What? Wait, Wisconsin lost? Who gets in now? Oh, that Iowa team that just beat Nebraska barely on Friday? What's the line? Oh, it's got to be a lot. I mean, what do you see when you see this line? First thought.
Yeah. Well, again, what's the public going to say? You're going to say Michigan just rolled. That's a lot of points, Dave.
That's
a lot of points in a spot. Again, we mentioned this earlier. I can't imagine there's a letdown spot in a Big Ten championship game with a playoff berth on the line. Stop me if you've heard this before. But Michigan, off that win over Ohio State, and not only just the win, the way they did it. I mean, they were dominant. That was near flawless. Now, they might not need a flawless game to beat Iowa either. That's the other side of it. Because if Iowa's going to cover this 11-point spread, how do they score? Where are Iowa's points coming from? Let me give you a couple quick numbers on that. Ready? Iowa's offense, 117th nationally in EPA per pass. There's EPA for you again. Expected points added. Expected points added per pass.
Per pass. That's right. Okay.
1-7. That means they're not good at throwing the football. They're not going to score a lot of points throwing the football.
At all.
115th in passing success rate.
Oh, boy.
And their running game hasn't been great. 122nd in EPA per carry. Where does Iowa get points here against Michigan? If they drop back to pass, Hutchinson and company are coming. That's as good a pass rush as there is. Now, Iowa's defense may be up front. Can they hold Michigan a little bit? But I want to take Iowa here in the double-digit points, but how does Iowa score? Answer that, and then you can get me on the Hawks.
I don't think they do. I think they get – I did a couple shows this week and I added it up wrong, but 2 field goals and a touchdown adds up to 13, or 2 touchdowns and a field goal adds up to 17. I think that's their top. When I look at these big spread games, meaning multiple, 10 or more, I always try to look at how much is the dog going to score and come up with their score first and then kind of back work it, for the equation to get to what do you pick on the side. So if we get 13, we got to get 24 to push, or if you get 10.5, that covers. 24-13 is actually a number total that stays under and covers. So you got to work that equation when a total's 43 or 43 and a half. That's so low. I don't think I was able to pass the ball. You just said it. They couldn't pass the ball against bad teams. Michigan made Ohio State unable to pass the ball.
Yes.
They're going to pressure them. They're going to hit them. If Michigan runs like they did against Ohio State, which they've been able to do pretty much all season, they're going to control the ball, control the clock, and get scoring opportunities, which would make Iowa's defense get tired and kind of impose their will on them. They always hear that expression. You can see it sometimes when you're watching the games. I think Michigan wins. I think Michigan covers. Total, I'm not sure. It's going to fall right around the number, I think. But 31-10 gets us under. How many points does Michigan score is the question for me, because at some point, if you're up and a celebration really starts, does Iowa get in a back door? I'll ask you this, throw it back to you. What scenario can Iowa win this game? Can they win this game?
You have to somehow hope you get a flat Michigan. Then you have to get some weird special teams or defensive scores and turnovers. That's how Iowa lived early in the season.
Yeah.
They were getting points off their defense. They were a turnover machine, but they're just 2-4 in their last 6. Again, crazy things happen. I get it. But to me, I'm with you. This is Michigan by double figures. I'm laying it on this because I don't see the scenario outside of blocked kick, pick sixes if Michigan decides to get cute and throw it. I don't see it here. This is the ultimate show me, because if my side has to get some defensive scores to cover that, I don't want any part of that.
Do you think, now you've been in these athletic offices, you worked, for, a couple decades in athletic offices and colleges and stuff. Iowa wins a game Friday in Nebraska, flies home, goes to sleep going, all right, we're going to the Belt Bowl. We're going to the, something else. We'll see. They wake up Saturday and watch the game and go, we're going to the Big Ten championship. Like they completely unexpected, I think. Do you think that has any factor? Like, hey, we got life. We can go ruin Michigan's season. Or are they going, wow, we got to go play Michigan now? Like we got to get ready in a week. Like, cause they were ready to be off until the bowl game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just think that the motivation is it countered by Michigan saying, hey, we're playing on a high here. We talk so much about the assumed letdown spot, and I get it. But maybe Michigan just says, hey, let's roll. Let's punch our ticket here. We're the ones that are rolling. Iowa, you want no part of us. Michigan's the better team. And it's not particularly close, in my opinion. I will say this. Dogs are 8-2 ATS in the Big Ten title game.
Yeah, it's always a big number, and you usually get in Wisconsin.
I'm not taking this. Now, for the Hawkeye fans out there, you know what this is? Little nostalgia. It's a rematch of the 1985 Classic in Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. Number 1 Iowa versus number 2 Michigan. Rob Houghton, number 7 field goal kicker for Iowa, boots the game-winning field goal. Everybody rushes. Hayden Fry beats Bo Schembechler. 1985, 1 versus 2.
Oh man! All right,
just want to make sure I got that in.
That's good.
I did go back to watch the highlights on YouTube. No, I was in my house, but I remember Hawkeye fan at the time, growing up in Iowa, sprinted out the front door, waving to the neighbor across the street. Celebrate Rob Houghton, number 7. Hello.
I love it. All right,
forever in Hawkeye lore.
Listen, I hope we get some people, commenting on the YouTube about that. That's just a little Iowa memory for you guys. I think it'll be a short memory of that you were in this game come Saturday, but we'll see. I think Michigan rolls. Harbaugh's got something. It's an easy week of practice. What is he going to stay on them? I mean, you guys are going to your presence for winning this game could be Alabama or Georgia.
Yeah,
they probably hope it's Cincinnati, but if Bama beats Georgia, they're going to have to play Michigan.
Let's go. Here we go. All right, let's wrap it up. Favorite part of, at least my favorite part of the show.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Oh, I missed it.
That you missed the game? That is going to depend on who all of these teams are going to get in? The SEC championship. How
forgot.
dare
I'm so focused. I'm so
Formality.
focused on Houston and Cincinnati. I forgot Alabama. I forgot there's only one conference in the country we should talk about. Nobody else should matter. Just the SEC. People like you, Alabama, go ahead and I don't even know why Alabama has to play. Just put them in the playoffs. People like you don't care if they win, they lose, doesn't matter. They're one of the best teams on paper. They're in.
Don't put me in that. I don't like the SEC either. I'm sick and tired of it too. I mean, I'm like Lincoln Riley. Like, hey, we're going to the SEC. Well, I'm out. I'm going to California. I'm going to play in the Pac-12. He didn't want no part of it. He's gone. I don't want no part of it. How about this game? Just start with this. If Alabama loses, they're out, right? They got to be out. They got to be out.
Listen, I know you're blowing up the whole playoff system soon anyway. I mean, it's going to get blown up, rightfully so. They should be out, in my opinion. I mean, the games matter. That's 2 losses. Get out.
Overtime loss. Like it's a close game, a classic, in Georgia, scores the touchdown, whatever, and wins in overtime. Hopefully covers. Can they work their way back into that 4 spot? No.
I mean, they can. I don't think they should. No. I think at that point, if Michigan's won, they're in. If Cincinnati has won, they're in. And if Oklahoma State has won, they're in. There's your teams. Move on. Give me some new teams.
What do you like in this game? 6.5's the spread.
I know. It's starting to get up there a little bit. You want to show me? I can't believe I'm saying this. Show me, Nick and Alabama. You got to show me. You got to show me
on the Alabama side.
Show me on the Alabama side. I don't know that we've said that. That what ended a 90. This ends a 93 game favorite streak for Alabama. If I have my numbers right,
that is correct.
Consecutive favorite roles for the Tide. So Saban and company have to love this coming in as a dog. They're going to have to throw. I mean, show me the formula here. Bryce Young's going to have to throw it. He's going to have to throw for 550 yards. I realize this Georgia defense all year on Georgia's defense. Alabama managed just 1.9 yards per carry last week against Auburn. And now they get
Georgia. They're not even a good defense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you got to assume they can't run it on Georgia, right? They're going to have to throw it. Is Bryce Young ready to bring this home and win this game? Is the moment too big for Georgia? No, give me Georgia here. You got to show me
what you got.
There it is. It is. It's a show me game.
All right, let me give you another one real quick before you go. Alabama's 91st in the country in sacks allowed. They're 102nd in tackles for loss. So if they're going to set back and throw it, and Georgia knows you're going to throw it, and they're coming, that's why you got to show me.
Oh, it's
you're going to
crazy.
take the points? Are you taking the points?
No, but I think a lot of people are, and I'm good with laying the points. When they asked me what this number should be, I said it early, 6.5. Make it just under a touchdown. If you want to take the Bama bet, make it 7 and come down. Like, yeah, we're not going to need to get the Bama money. You're right. Just put it 6.5 and keep taking that Bama money. This is a game the books might need the favorite. They actually might need the favorite in this game. It won't move the line. Like, you can just sit at 6.5 because every time you go down, you get the bad guy bet you need and go up. But Bama in this role, you said it, 93 in a row, they've been favored. So when is Bama a dog? I mean, that's a long time that they've been since they've been a dog. I think the game plays to the under. It's in Atlanta, right? It is in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. The current total is 50. It's coming down 49.5 in a lot of places. I'm thinking the game plays to the under. But then you watch like Alabama when they played Texas A&M, when they lost, the game flew over. The story of this game isn't the defenses. It's Georgia's offense. Georgia's offense goes, they can blow this team out and do everybody a favor and put Alabama in some bowl game that ain't nobody really that excited about, and we get the new fresh faces in the college football playoff. That's what I'm hoping.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that I argue. 14-4 to the over the last 18 in the SEC championship game, though, if that gives you pause. Here would be my only pause on Georgia. But again, I'm with you. I'm laying the points. Alabama's got to show me. But how about these offenses that Georgia's gone against? Clemson, UAB, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Auburn, Kentucky, Florida, Missouri, Tennessee, Charleston Southern, Georgia Tech. Not exactly dominant offenses there. I mean, this should be the best offense that they've faced, and it shouldn't be particularly close. I know Arkansas had some moments, but that defense has been dominant, but it also hasn't faced any great offenses. Now, I don't know if Alabama's a great offense, but it should be able to do a little more. But I'm still Georgia on this one.
So, does this kid win the Heisman if they lose?
So who does win the Heisman? I don't have a good answer for you on the Heisman.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like, if Michigan dominates and Hutchinson has another 5 sacks, can a defensive player win this thing? You said it's only a quarterback award, but which quarterback is it? If it's somebody, it's not somebody who's not playing this weekend, is it? I mean, can you get Stroud back in it? If Young doesn't play well and Alabama loses, I don't know. It's 1 week before you got to vote, and I have no idea who's going to win the Heisman.
Totally agree. I mean, there's about 5 or 6 people that you can make a case for, but nobody jumps out to me here. The challenge with the defensive players, one, it's not only rare. A lot of times you need that push from the beginning, right? Woodson had the push from the beginning of the year. Right. Hutchinson's really been catching steam, or Davis from Georgia here. We're talking about Georgia's defensive line and defense in particular, but it's just such a late push. I don't know that they can get there. I mean, is Kenny Pickett alive? We talked about Pitt earlier. Is Kenny Pickett the quarterback from Pitt? I mean, can Pitt win it if they're 11-2 in an ACC championship? I don't know who you give it to. I truly don't know on that. I'm glad I'm not voting. That would be a
fun one. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll know after Saturday. I think we'll have a very clear picture of it. I think if you want to get into that market and make some plays, I think you can sprinkle a bunch, like just take a shot, with, like you say, pizza money, and spread it around a little bit and take a shot on Pickett, take a shot on Hutchinson, and just fade the favorites. And if Bama loses, you're live with 3 guys going to New York. That's a fun night to watch that event when you're sitting there with a little bit of a hey, I'm going to win a hell of a nice dinner, or, a little bit of a shot here. I don't know who's going to win. I really don't.
Agree. All right. Now is it time? I jumped the gun. Now is it time?
It's time.
Now. Okay. It's time. Favorite thing of the week. Highest total of the week. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go.
We are ending with a doozy here. If you want to play the trend, we've got a dandy for you. Let's go to Maction. As we're either Ole Miss or we're Maction in this segment.
That's it.
There's really only 2 options: Ole Miss or Maction. We've been here with these teams. We've been here all year. This is on a 10-2 under run for the season, right? Do I have that right? 10-2 to the under on the highest total of the week. Let's test it here. Kent State, Northern Illinois, 73.5 in Maction. Another rematch. These 2 teams met in early November. The score, Dave, was 52-47.
52-47. That, by my count, is 99. 99.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
99.
Now,
Wayne Gretzky
we did just have Kent
99.
State last week against Akron. Total was in this mid-70s. They went way under, 38-0.
Right.
This one, though, again, 99 points scored the last time. You're going to get 2 teams that can really run it. 3rd and 5th in rushing yards per game nationally. Kent State's 3rd, Northern Illinois' 5th. But here's what's interesting. How about this for the last meeting? Kent State ran it like they do. Now, they go fast, but they run. They ran for 358 on Northern Illinois. Here was the surprise. Northern Illinois only ran it for 135 in that game.
Wow.
But my guy, Rocky Lombardi from West Des Moines, Iowa, the Michigan State transfer, came in, threw it for 5 bills plus.
Oh, gosh.
So Northern Illinois said, that's right. We can't run it on you. Fine. We're just going to throw it for 5 on the Kent State defense. I want to do it. I want to finish the year right and take an under. I really do.
Can't do it.
It's a title game. 5 of the last 7 MAC championship games with a total greater than 60 have gone under.
Ooh, really?
That's per VEASAN. Thanks to the VEASAN guys for that number. But
Thanks,
I mean,
boys. Yeah.
52-47 just a few weeks ago. I know what I always say in this segment. You just need a stop or two to get it under. I don't know that I can do it here. I don't know that I can get under.
Well, we have a drop. Nobody has a drop for when you say show me. They showed us. They gave us they scored 99. I mean, what are they going to score now? 100? We got to get 100. I think, talk about in play and taking a position, I think you play this one over this pregame number and then get a couple quick scores and look to play an inflated total under and try that way. You ain't convincing me at all to take the under. Although the thing that does convince me is 10-2 to the segment. I mean, we started it as a kind of a fun thing. We're going to talk about the highest total of the week, and it goes under, and the highest total of the week, and it goes under. We had 2 shots where it went over, and it was close. Like, it had to get, like, everything had to happen. Well, the one flew over, and then the one was really close and just leaned over, just tipped over. I mean, the game's in Detroit. We got no weather. It's a fast track there. Those offenses are going to run through each other. When there's going to be big plays, turnover. I'm thinking over. It's the way the season's got to end, right? It's got to end on an over. The highest total of the week's got to go over, don't it?
Yeah, I'm with you. I like your thinking there. Go over and then try and run it under if you have to. I just can't. Like I said, narrative wise, I'd love to end with an under here. I am not in this game. No way.
All right.
Over.
Last question before we go. USC is playing Cal in a makeup game that ain't nobody knows nothing about. I mean, from the athletic office standpoint, do you have to play this game? Who in the hell? Why are they playing this football game? And why? The line is 4, by the way. We'll get to that in a second. But what the hell is going on? All these college football games, championship games, and like they are literally going to be playing in front of friends and family at Cal on Saturday.
Who's televising it here? You need some TV inventory. You need to supply a number of games here to make sure you get your contract.
It's genius what they did. It's an 8:00 Pacific start, 11:00 Eastern. It's the ultimate get back game, meaning you got to get all the money back that you lost. You're going to play it, or you're going to double up. So it has no action right now. There's not a person that's even going, oh, well, I should play this game. Maybe a little bit because the boys at Circa and Westgate both opened at 2.5. It went to 4. Okay, so bad guys played Cal because why in the hell is anybody at USC going to play? New coach coming in. I mean, they're going to blow the whole thing up. What are we doing? We got to go.
Well, maybe that's why. I mean, I feel for the coaches here. This is hard for the coaches if you're
terrible,
trying to coach
right?
in a meaningless game and you don't know if you have a job, or maybe by then you know if you have a job or not. Here would be the only thing. If you want a counterpoint, I'll give you a counterpoint. I'm here to give you a counterpoint.
Yeah.
The only counterpoint would be if I'm a USC player and I know I got my new coach sitting there and I know I got my new coach watching, and he's not going to have to go get the clicker and fast forward to see if I block or if I give effort or if I'm worth the scholarship. He's sitting right there watching me. There's a little bit of open tryouts here for USC. He's a great recruiter. He's out recruiting. I'm bringing guys in. If I'm a USC guy right now, I'm saying, hold on here. I think I want to keep my scholarship. This is my tryout. I better go play. I better go play if I'm a USC Trojan.
I think you're right. I think so. USC has had a terrible season, and this is why they went and got Lincoln Riley. Genius move by him to get in that Pac-12 because he's a good offensive coach. They don't play no defense in the Pac-12. It's perfect. They're going to be highest total of the week next year for this show for us. We'll be probably having some USC games in there because they're going to score. Interesting thing, watch the line movement on this thing because I think your narrative counterpoint that you just presented is going to come into play. I think the line's coming back down. Grab the USC number while you can, maybe while we're watching that slobber knocker in the Big Ten championship or the track meet in Charlotte in the ACC championship. But thank you, sir, again for joining us, for everybody for listening. This been 8 in the Box, the podcast where we talk college football. For the producer and, the man extraordinaire, we call him Dan Alexander, Newbie, at Newbie Talks on the Twitter. For the quarterback of the show, B. Howe, he's at Brad Howe07 on the Twitter, and myself, Dave Sharapan, the Sportsbook Consigliere. Again, this has been 8 in the box. Thank you. We're not done. This is not the end of the show. We're going to keep doing the show, hopefully through the bowl season, and then we're going to kind of morph into some college basketball. But we'll stay tuned for that. Talk to you guys next week.
Hey.